And welcome today to Facebook Ads Remarketing Strategy for Beginners in 2024. Now, I just made a few little notes here just before this video that are really important. I'll share this down below if you want to. Obviously, you can just read through it, nothing amazing, okay? But Facebook Ads is an amazing platform, okay? Now, there's a lot of different ways you can market using Facebook. We're talking specifically, again, for e-commerce. The fundamentals are all the same. So if you're running Facebook ads for e-commerce, or let's say a lead generation service type business, the strategy is different in terms of how you allocate and make creatives and stuff. But on the back end, the audiences, the custom audiences are all pretty much how you run it the same. You just need to change a few variables, okay? And that's the sweet thing. Once you learn this, you learn it for any business, any product, any situation. So that's why I wanted to sort of talk about this a few minutes before we go into Facebook, where I'll explain it further in detail. Okay, a few questions people generally ask is, what is Facebook ads remarketing? Well, to answer that question, it's basically when you market to someone, let's say you're marketing to me, I see your product or service the first time and I might engage with it. I might click that ad and go to the product page. But the chances are I'm not going to really buy it, right? I might have a small bit of interest, get distracted, move on. That's what happens in life, right? Statistically, most people don't buy as a spontaneous purchase unless it's just some wildly amazing product that someone really wants. Remarketing is where you get most of your return on investment. Okay, cold ads will always perform significantly worse than remarketing. That's why you'll see agencies and most businesses make most of their money from remarketing. Today we're just going into standard remarketing. I'll also be talking a bit about dynamic product ads as well. There's different types of remarketing. We're going to more talk about the more manual, custom remarketing that most people are focused on. DPA is more for e-commerce, dynamic product ads, whereas if you're in like a service-based business, you wouldn't run DPA ads because you have to have a catalog and a catalog of products, okay? So if you're a dentist, you wouldn't run that, okay? But you would do a different type of remarketing. So what you do is you remarket to those people. Let's say I've clicked that ad, I've gone to the page, and I haven't gone any further. You can make a custom audience in Facebook that says all people you can do a number of ways. All people that have engaged with my ad, you'll get more people there because each time you go further down what's called the funnel, the less people, but the more qualified they become. So if someone gets all the way to your checkout, they're a lot more qualified than someone who just added a comment on your Facebook post and didn't go to your website, aren't they? It's a lot more quality traffic. So that's why it's really important to understand these fundamentals. And the more you segment it and the more you market to those segments, specifically in each stage, the more you're likely to get, okay? So it's very analytical and it's very standard, right? So that's what I'm sort of trying to say there. But we're going to keep it very simple, okay? So we're going to keep it that someone clicked your ad and went to your page. When they go to your page, they haven't done anything further. Fine, okay? So let's say that's www.dogs, okay? I'll just put it in here. Whoops. www.dogs.com/collar, okay? Let's say that's the page you're sending them to, and we'll use that in this example. And how do you use it is very simple, is you run it the same as you would pretty much a cold traffic campaign. You make a manual campaign, always manual for these. I never recommend that, especially for these. You want control. Marketing is all about control, especially digital marketing, especially with the tools that you have nowadays. So you make a campaign, and I'll show you how to do that. And basically you will then, instead of adding audiences that Facebook defines, which might be like a magazine, it could be a famous model, it could be a famous person, whatever those interests are, which is how Facebook defines those audiences, you add your own audience because the custom audience manager, it just integrates into the ads manager and it just pulls it in from there. Very, very simple, right? You can still lock it down by age, gender, do all of that. I leave it open, okay? The reason is because the custom audience, if you're getting a couple, like 500 people to your website a week, you don't want to narrow it down. If you have 50 million to your website, yeah, narrow it down, right? No, but in the beginning, because this is for beginners, you definitely don't. So I'll show you that as well. And you definitely do need to do remarketing. On average, you usually would get a 3 times higher return on investment than you would cold ads. Statistically, if you look online, you would see that that's sort of the global average, which is huge. So if you're getting like a 2 times return on investment with your cold, you could be getting a 6 times with remarketing. Because people forget, and that's why basically remarketing is to jog people's memories and build that proof. That's what building a brand is. Okay, so that's why I'm trying to teach you that today. The other parts, just to confirm, you need a business manager set up, ad accounts set up, and your Facebook page and Instagram set up. Look, you don't have to have an Instagram, but look, I recommend setting these things up. As you build your business, once you have these set up, you never have to do it again. It's very simple, okay? We're talking 5 minutes work here. And then we're going to go into the custom audiences. Now, as a general thing, as I said, you want to get 100 site visitors a day consistently for 7 days. Whether that's your winning product, whether it's multiple products in your business, that doesn't matter. At least 100, okay? And preferably 100 for that specific product, okay? If you're running 7 different products and you're getting 100 site visitors, you might only be getting 20, 30, you know, I generally recommend it per product. Obviously, it depends on where your business size is at, but if you're also getting traffic from other sources as well, you definitely need to be running Facebook ads remarketing, okay? It's a funny thing, right? Not everyone buys through Facebook, but everyone ends up on Facebook or Instagram, right? It's one of those staple items in your house, right? Type of thing. So having Facebook ads, I've many times run Google ads for cold, and then I remarket via Facebook, and it does extremely well, to give you an idea, right? So this is a very important one that builds the foundation. Okay, let's go into the custom audiences, and we'll make a draft campaign and show you just how simple it really is. Just give me a mo. Now, basically in here, you'll make the campaign, but first what you want to do is, there's a few ways to go about it. I go all tools, and they're always changing this, so don't be surprised if they change it. I'm just trying to find, you don't want automated rules, it's audiences. Automated rules are things to help you with scaling and managing budgets and different criteria. That's a more advanced thing. So you can see I've made some test things in the past, and you can see they're all pending, okay? When they're pending, that means that they're not really, like their availability is yes, but it doesn't really have an audience size. And this is just because it's a test account. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to create an audience, and you can here create a custom audience or lookalike audience. Okay, we're going to just create a custom audience, and you can create custom audience a lot of different ways. Okay, so obviously depending on where your brand is at sort of determines that as well. So you can even now make it based on shopping. So people that have integrated, that's why with basically that's your DPA ads catalog. Push it to your Facebook page, Instagram page. You can even remarket to people that have just engaged there. It's a fantastic way. Hence why I recommend setting these things up. For today, for most cases, you either do catalog, website, customer list in e-commerce, okay? These ones, most of them aren't really relevant. Shopping, you'd have to have a pretty big brand for that to be worth it. Customer list is a list of emails. You can get that from your ESP, email service provider. Or catalog, as I said, you know, once you integrate your catalog, I've shown that's in a recent video. You can check out the channel on how to integrate Facebook with Shopify. Very, very simple. But we're going to go website. And now remember in the example, I put that so always you want to choose your source of your pixel. Okay, so that's why again have this all set up. Okay, because otherwise you can't run it. Include accounts, center accounts, always leave that, okay? The events, now you can run different types of events, okay? At the beginning, okay, you either want to run view content or website visitors, okay? So it sort of depends how you're marketing to begin with. I generally go, I go view content, and I go refine by URL parameter. Okay, so all website visitors is anyone that goes to your website and does any action. But we want to do view content, which is generally the essentially where someone goes to www.dogs.com/collar and they check out your product page. Okay, so this is where we just put in. So I should also add, you don't need to put in the full URL. Okay, when your pixel is connected to your store, your domain is connected. So www.dogs.com, it already knows that because that's always the same. It's always sending people there, right? Because that's how you get your tracking. Otherwise, you can't even run remarketing. So what you do is you just put / you don't have to, but I do, collar. Okay, so I put collar. Now, because again, the URL that we put is www.dogs.com/collar. That's the unique variable that we need. Okay, so I always like to put / that's just me. You don't have to, you could just put collar. Okay, but the more specific it is as you build your brand, you've got a lot of products, the more specific you would want something like this to be. Okay, and you can add in multiple. So if you have multiple products, you can do that. Most people generally want to do, I recommend remarketing to one product. It works best, and it's the recommended approach. Audience name and description can be anything. Now, I should also add, you can add aggregated value. You never really use that, especially in the beginning, or device. Again, you don't really use that. You can exclude, so you can add more people. So you can add, an or. Okay, so it could be you might want to have 2 products, but you want to have them as separate ones. It's all up to you. It's very flexible. It's basically a filter. Okay, just think of it as a filter. So you can run different things, and you can even exclude people. So let's say you're trying to market, you got www. You don't want to include anyone that looked at leashes, specifically collars. You can make sure that if I was doing that in that example, I would also go view content, and I would refine it by URL, and I would put /leash. I think I got that right. If I spelled that right. Anyway, so you get my point, right? So you can get that absolute control. Now, audience retention, I haven't explained that yet. The maximum time is 180 days. In the beginning, I recommend just putting it as 180 days because you just want to, like to leave it open. As you scale, you will narrow that down. Okay, as an advanced scaling strategy, you want 1, 3, 7, 14 days remarketing. So what you can do, right, is you can make custom audiences where what I do is, like what you can see here, I make multiple custom audiences the exact same, but I make the retention 1 day, 3 days, 7 days. And when you make the campaign, this is how I do it. Again, you can do it a lot of different ways, but how I prefer to do it, you can, in the campaign, include and exclude audiences. So you make the audiences here as if you include everyone, and you include and exclude them at the campaign level. The reason I prefer to do that, that's just personal preference, and because once you've set up the audiences, you don't spend much time in the audience manager, you spend most of your time in the campaign ads manager. Okay, so that way you can be sure you do it right here, set, forget, walk away, because these variables never change. Okay, so you want to make sure you get it right, because you're always going to spend most of your time making new audiences, new campaigns, or new creatives. Okay, you don't want to be spending all your time going back and forth between the audience manager. So that's just a tip of advice from that. The audience name, I just go CA, which stands for custom audience. As you sort of see, I've done that in the past. And then I put the name of business, dogs, and then I put the name of the product, collar, and then I put the name of the retention. I like to basically put an overview of what I've done here. So I'm going to remove this exclusion, 180 days, and I put VC, view content. Okay, and description, you don't really need to worry about that. I just put the same thing. Okay, it's entirely up to you, and this can be customized after the fact. So we go create, and it recommends straight away to create. You can create another custom audience, create an ad, create a lookalike. Okay, now as I said, we will create a lookalike, but we're not going to create one right now. Okay, that's more an advanced strategy. So you can see that it's available for use. It's pending. Okay, and obviously both know that this is not going to work. And if I want to change this, I can just go straight back to this audience, and I can even share it. I can edit it. So it's up to you. Okay, you can see the benefit of why you would have a nice title and description. The reason is when you build out your business, you'll likely have a lot of custom audiences, and you probably forget, and you might have multiple team members. So by having a naming convention and trying to make it very clear and defined really just helps reduce that. Now, obviously it has filters that you can filter by as well, but those are just my little tips, okay? That's just how I handle it and how I've found it easiest, because otherwise you'll have to look at each of these. Sadly, you don't get an overview of the actual criteria in the overview. You really only see the name. So it's really important you make the name very clear. So if I was doing purchase, I'd put PUR. So I'd be like, okay, purchase in the last 180 days. So it's very clear for anyone. It's just a small little thing, but it makes a massive, massive difference. Okay, so from here, we go back to all tools and we go to the ads manager. See how the shortcuts are always like ads manager, because that's where you spend most of your time, right? That's what Facebook's about. Okay, so then we go create. You want to go sales, you definitely go sales for this, right? And some people go other cheaper ones like traffic awareness and that for cold, but for remarketing, always sales, straight for the kill, because that's where you're going to get the best action, best result, pardon me. You always, again, want to go auction, not reservation. And you can even, you can create a new one. Anyway, I just follow this process personally. I go next, and again, I do manual, and I go next. This part's really where it's quite easy. Now you can start to see from the series of videos that have been released, it's all about setup. Once you have the setup, it's copy paste, okay? So I'm gonna go debeautify, okay, and I'm gonna call it dog collar, pardon me, remarketing, okay, and 180 days VC. That's just how I like to do it. You can do it, as I said, and you can create templates, up to you. Ignore the special ad categories. You don't want to use your catalog. Again, we don't need to use it. I will be making a video on dynamic product ads on how you can use your catalog. Not right now though, we don't need that. I always use Advantage Budget Plus. Basically, that's just what used to be called CBO, campaign-based optimization. They've just renamed it to make it more modern. So, as a general tip, whatever you're spending on cold, if you're spending $50 and a day, as an example, you would probably want to do about 80% less of that for remarketing as a starting point, because you're getting a lot less people. Okay, cold is about finding people, remarketing is remarketing to the people who have engaged with you. So, as I said, I would put $10 a day starting point. Okay, always leave it the highest volume. And I definitely recommend that. You don't want to increase your, you can, but I've very rarely had success with that, I'm not going to lie. Reporting, just leave that all. You want to go next. And again, you give it the ad set. So I'm going to call it VC, pardon me, remarketing. See how it also gives you these as well, where it tries to help you rename it. So again, as you go down this path, I recommend you create a template. It just makes it easier for when you're filtering, because otherwise you do get lost, especially when you're running a lots. Remarketing, 180 days. And pardon me, I got it wrong. It should be purchase, okay? Because we're running for purchase, we're running website, maximum number of conversions. Okay, you don't want any of these, that's not important. Pixel conversion event would be purchase, okay? On cold, we're running pardon me, we also run purchase, and here we're also running purchase. So the reason I do it that way is you're paying more to try and find people who Facebook defines based on their millions upon millions of data points that are the best for your business, okay? And then you remarket and you naturally want to purchase. So it just makes the most sense. You can run dynamic creatives. I find they work quite well. That's in another video as we go into how to build creatives. I'm trying to build this series, okay? Start date is always, again, the next business day at minimum, starting at midnight, okay? Don't set an end date. You'll just flick the switch on and off if it's not working. Locations, okay? So locations, you don't need to, well, you can, but or it's up to you, right? What I guess I'm getting at is I generally use the custom audience for that as well. So you can use saved audiences. You don't, hold on. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Ignore the audience controls. So as you can see here, we have the dog collar. Okay, and you can see how now the location's excluded. The reason is because you pixel, like from your cold traffic, you're defining who you control it to, right? So in this case, we've done it to the United States as a starting point, right? If you're doing it to multiple countries, because we haven't segmented to what countries in the custom audience, we don't really need to. You can still narrow it down. So, but in the beginning, you don't want to. If you're getting tens of thousands and you want to lock it down, then yes, absolutely. Because you'll probably get a lot of traffic that doesn't convert. You'll know what traffic in what country converts, so you can lock it down here. In the beginning though, you just want to put custom audience. Leave age open, leave gender open, because in the beginning, again, you just want to leave it open. Leave placements open. Always, especially for remarketing, even when you grow, leave placements open. You'll be amazed by some of where the sales you get. Next, again, we're just going to I like to call this dog collar, and I'll put creative version 1, because you're going to make a lot of different creatives, especially once you find things converting. You will want to have like a template there, right? Again, you can create a template. I'm just putting that here. It's not a partnership ad, okay? And again, I go single image or video. Now, as a tip, as we get into this more as well, just to say, if you can run review related ads, UGC, user generated content, they work extremely well. If someone who has purchased that product before, given you a testimonial, that works extremely well for remarketing. Okay, and just to give you an idea, so we can go for full transparency here, did you miss something? Okay, with copy, like in one of the last videos on how to set up Facebook, you want to start very simple. Pardon me, I shouldn't say, did you forget something? And you want to offer a discount, right? So return now to complete your purchase with 10% off at www.dogs.com/collar. Now, you can use Bitly. There's a number of shortened links, URLs, bitly.com, to make this a shortened URL. The reason as well is you actually get analytics on people who've clicked that link too. It's up to you. I just put this, right? Because people associate with the brand and stuff, I just put that. That's just me. But if you've got a really long URL, okay, you definitely want to use Bitly, because you don't want this ridiculous long URL. So just keep that in mind. And then you can use AI, right? So I'm actually going to choose that one. I'm going to choose that one. Fantastic. See how simple that is. Now, I should add, because I'm don't just take our word, because I'm doing a dog collar, I'm going with something that relates to it. Don't just take our word for it. Take Chelsea's word for her purchase of the dog collar. Okay, and excuse me if I've gotten some of my spelling wrong throughout this. And when I'm saying it, this is the best dog collar. My dog is so happy. I'm not hurting my dog, and so much easier to walk my dog, right? Okay, and then have the video back that up. Simple as that, right? So you can sort of see that comes up, and I would just put in the headline, the best dog collar I have ever purchased, Chelsea.t, let's say. All right, so you can see how that really captures attention. You don't want to be too salesy nowadays, so I definitely recommend that, right? Happy dogs, happy you, I like that. Unleash your dog's happiness. You can sort of see how it's really, really simple. And again, it's always shop now. Okay. You can also run your promo codes. So again, I would call it collar 10. Okay, really handy, right? It works really well with remarketing. Okay, you want to use these things. And again, is dogs.com/collar. Same page, slightly different strategy, different audience. Okay, and so you can see it starts to show a bit of a preview as you build out the actual creatives. I'm not going to add one today. You can see, hold on, if I add an image as an example, pass one to myself. You can see how, look at that. Right? So it gives that, and that's how you want to start a Facebook ads remarketing one as a beginner. Now, I'm going to be making one for scaling and how you do that as well. I'm going to be making separate ones on how to make the creatives and what tools I generally use. There's a lot of video editing tools. It really comes down to preference. If you want to use a web-based one, if you want to use desktop one, I just use desktop, and if I'm honest, I have a video editor that I work with because it's not my absolute forte, but I know how to do it. But that'll be a future video. I hope this has helped. The Google Doc will be down below if you just want to have a read of that. If you did like today's video, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment any questions you have down below. Other than that, I appreciate your time. Take care and goodbye.